Hello, hello, everybody, and welcome to Connect In. Connect In is a weekly broadcast about the importance of getting control of your head, maybe out of your head, but control of your head and back into your inner guidance. And your inner guidance is your body, heart, and soul. And I do these almost every week because I feel like when we get stressed, when we kind of get beside ourselves, we lose track of what's important, what our heart is holding essential. We get kind of caught up in the shoulda, woulda, couldas of life. And then before you know it, months have gone by and we're like, what was going on? What am I doing? And so connecting in is not only connecting in to your inner guidance, but connecting into your body and how your body guides you. And you may be asking, what does this have to do with the transformational journey of being you or creativity? Because that's the tool that I use a lot to get to our truth. And first step, right? You have to come down and back into your body and feel where you're being guided, right? That is step one. Otherwise, we are just in our head, twirling and whirling and just believing all the crazy shit that comes up. So a good example of that is I have a kind of Labor Day meltdown. Most of you who have been following me know that I spend as much time as possible in the summer stand-up paddling on the ocean because when I'm out in the ocean, I am often surrounded by dolphins. And I feel like being out on the ocean, being surrounded by dolphins, clears my field. It's the thing, honestly, that helps me get set up for the winter. Because if I don't do it, I'm just going to lose my shit. So Labor Day is always a really tough time. I'm sure it goes back to way, way back as a child because part of our migration was to go to the beach in the summer. And so there's this kind of muscle memory that also kicks in. Okay, so I'm 60 and this has been happening for most of my life. And this time I actually had this beautiful epiphany of how to manage this a little bit better. We all think that we're adults and we should be able to get through these things. And I probably have been doing that, for at least the past 20 years. But this time I was able to recognize that I was having a meltdown. And then I was able to pull forth tools that helps me regroup. Now, does that mean I didn't lose my beans for about 2 or 3 days? Nope, I still did. So I think, step one in personal transformation is recognizing that you have gone off-centered. And that's important. That's really different than recognizing and then berating yourself for losing your shit. It's like recognizing, this is some really big stuff. And this is throwing me off. Like many of us, we're really good at compartmentalizing. So I can be in my crisis and then I could still do my work. And so I was doing some distance healing work for a group of people. I have them in a group and every week I send energy to them. But I was like, wow, I want to be in that group, blah, blah, blah. I was having my own self-pity party when I finished. And I thought, okay, Damini, you have tools. So tool number one is that you recognized that you were off-centered. And then you have a choice. I could just stay in my mind that is whirling and twirling and totally freaking out, or I can look to tools that I offer, and I offer you all, to help regroup, to help bring me back to center. And actually, that's what I did. And if you're interested in what that recording is, I'll put that in the show notes because I actually was looking through all my audio recordings, and this one, Come Back to Yourself, was like kind of screaming at me. And that's what I listened to. And that's what really helped me get a grip. Why, the story of why this is happening, the story that this pattern shows up, this story of why do I keep allowing this to happen? Why can't I buck up? All of that in that moment doesn't matter. I think the most important thing we can do is really just honor the fact that we are not okay. I talk a lot about being and living as your brightest best self. And what that is living as authentically as possible for you right now. And that doesn't always mean unicorns and fairy tales. That doesn't always mean that you're walking around like that. It means that, you're having a hard time and you just say, shit, I'm having a hard time. Versus for me, my other mode was buck up, get through it, just push through. And honestly, that just makes you more upset and more exhausted. How does that work for you? What do you what is your pattern? Because it's helpful to know your pattern so you can pull yourself back together. So if step one is recognizing, step two is using a tool to get out of the twirl of the head. And the easiest way you can do that is by coming back to what I think is your life enabling mantra of breath to belly to feet. And it sounds super simple. Why it's simple is because that mantra is directly engaging you back into your body. And when you're back into your body, then you can kind of come back in, listen to your instincts, your intuition, your inner guidance, whatever you want to call that. But until you get out of your head, it's super hard to do that. And I'm going to share with you breath, belly, feet in a minute. But I also wanted to say, a lot of people are like, hey, Damini, I see you as talk about creativity as a form of transformation. Why do you share lots of meditations, lots of embodiment practices? Because I do believe that creativity, when you connect in to your creative process, and I don't mean artistic, I mean your birthright creativity, you are accessing deep truths, soul truths. You're accessing this inner guidance that's like in your bones. I like calling it potential. And it is accessing your bone potential or your soul potential that allows you to live the life you are here to live. That's the cherry on top, peeps. First, we got to get it out of our head and back into our body and hearts. And that is why there's all these embodiment practices I share with you, because otherwise, we're creating from our head. And when we're creating from our head, we're in the world of judgment, expectations, perfectionism, the inner critic kicks in, blah, 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 blah. And once you come down, starting with breath, belly, feet, you can begin to, those of you who are listening over and over again, there's like a truth in this that is resonating in your body. And it's a beautiful thing that you are honoring that. So I'm going to share with you one more little story about why it's important to do breath, belly, feet, right? Breath, belly, feet not only kind of sets you up to begin to listen to your inner self, your soul self, but it also allows you to be centered, calm, and connected, right? Again, back to my ocean yumminess. I went out on the ocean probably a couple weeks ago, and I was in the state of doing bravado. Yes, I can do this. And it was foggy. And it's like, oh, that's okay. The fog will clear by the time I get out past the break, blah, 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 blah. And I got out through the break and I could not see a thing. And I go out generally where there's a lot of lifeguards training and stuff like that, but I don't think they were in the water yet. But there's flags out in the water that give me a sense of how far off the beach I am. And I got out there past the break and I could not see the flag. And the fog was so thick that I think I could only see maybe 10 feet off my board. And I was like, that's okay. And I kind of like was starting to freak out. My head's going, oh my God, a boat won't see you if they're driving by. And if you go in the wrong direction, you're going to head to Spain. It's like, I don't know about you, but I can cascade pretty quickly into, oh shit. And I was out there and I knew that I was safe. So I wasn't going to get taken in by a wave. And I didn't think I was moving that far off the shore. So I was like, okay, this is a really good example to do breath, belly, feet. And so breath, belly, feet is this simple meditation mantra practice that made my blah come back down and in. So I could like get my shit together again. And so I did breath, belly, feet, which we'll do in just a few minutes. And as I did breath, belly, feet, my board must have shifted a little and I saw the flag in the distance. And, I paddled towards the flag and for about an hour, I had to keep my eye on the flag. Like I could not lose sight of the flag because I would lose sight of where I was. And when I tell you it was totally foggy and the fog lasted obviously longer than I thought it was. But I was like, oh God, this is a perfect metaphor. Like keep your eye on what's in front of you, right? Keep your eye on the flag in that case. But like it was an important message for me to use the practice of breath, belly, feet. So one, I recognized that I was freaking out. Two, I recognized that I needed to get centered and calm. And then three, I needed it. It's a funny word, but at that point, I needed to keep my eye on what's in front of me. And just shift that metaphor a little bit. I don't know if you've ever had this experience, but you have this dream that you really want to do something that is out of the norm, right? Maybe you want to quit your job or change where you live or move out of the state or start a new business, right? There are the beautiful logistics of the mind that help keep you, like business plans, keep you in focus. But if you don't incorporate your full inner guidance and just let your head do this, when your inner critic kicks in, when you get thrown off centered, when you like start running out of money and you're going, wah! It's like, how do you bring yourself together? Like, how do you keep your eye on the flag, right? How do you keep your eye on what your heart is holding essential? And there's a lot of different ways to do that, but most importantly, recognize, number one. Number two, come back down and into your body. And number three, you can start following your inner guidance. Breath, belly, feet helps get you calm and centered and focused, bringing you down out of your head and back into your body. And then when you're in your body, you can start following all the feelings and sensations of how your heart and soul are guiding you. That is transformation. To bring that into another level, that's why I use creativity as the kind of truth-telling, quote unquote, information gathering time, because you're not in your head. Your head is only going to do what's safe. And when you're on the precipice of change, you have to come back to your body and heart to really evoke change. And right before we do breath, belly, feet, one thing I wanted to invite you to is I offer two things right now. One is a monthly group called Creative Alchemy, where we where I'm there and I guide you into an intention for that month. We do as a community a creative practice, whatever feels right with you, if that's writing or drawing or moving or painting or just contemplating. And then throughout the month, there is a meditation to help keep the thread throughout your day. Because I don't know about you, but when I do something and then I'm on to something new, I forget what I've just done. Right. And the other thing I've just started offering, I mentioned earlier that I've been doing some energy blasts for a particular group of people for some time now. And I'm going to start opening that up to you all who are just wanting just a little bit more support throughout the week, throughout the month. And that's going to be coming up on my website sometime today. If you go ahead and join my mailing list, you'll get a notice of when that's about to happen. But if you want an energy boost, you can go ahead and join that. If you want to be part of Creative Alchemy, where we're using creativity for personal transformation, go ahead and do that. And I'll have all the links in the show notes as well. All right, so first step of following your heart, getting back in touch to what's really essential for you is recognition. Recognition when you are in your groove and when you are not in your groove, right? And number 2 is the mantra of breath, belly, feet. So let's do that together. All right, so soften your eyes. When your eyes are soft, you are completely in your heart and body space versus looking and reading and thinking, right? So allow your eyes to soften and feel the weight of you on the chair. Obviously, if you're driving, do this some other time. Feel the weight of your body, fully feel the weight of your body on the chair. Feel your feet on the ground, whether you have shoes on or not, whether you're cross-legged or not, whether you're lying flat or not. Just feel, imagine your feet, your body connected to the earth. Take a moment, pause, just notice what's going on in your body. Are you falling asleep? Are you getting restless? Are you going, get on with it, Damini? Blah, blah. You know, whatever. Just notice. And then bring your awareness to your breathing. Bring your awareness to your breath in your chest. Bringing your breath down to your belly, into your hips, down your legs, knees, and feet. Breath to belly to feet. And just keep doing that for a few minutes. Breath to belly to feet. Notice all that comes up. That's okay. And if you're starting to think, am I doing this right? It seems really simple. Oh my God, blah, blah, blah. Breath to belly to feet, and then wiggle your toes. Really allow yourself the opportunity to come back to yourself. When we're busy, we're in our head. We are spending all the energy that we have. When we take a moment to come down and into our body, we're not only getting calm and centered and focused, but we're also building energy. We're building our vitality. Breath to belly to feet. Wiggle your toes. And just keep doing that. You can keep doing this for 2 minutes a day, 5 minutes a day. What's important about a practice is you're actually creating muscle memory, right? So the more you do this, the more your body goes, oh yeah, get out of the head, down to the belly and feet. Yes. And why is this helpful? If you are in a grocery line and somebody is taking forever and you feel like your temper is getting short, breath, belly, feet. Yep, you could do it standing in the line at the grocery store. If you are in an argument with somebody and you feel yourself really losing your center, pause, breath, belly, feet. The more you do breath, belly, feet, the more your body kicks in quickly. So step 1 is to recognize you're going off center. Step 2 is to come back down and inside yourself with breath, belly, feet. And step 3 is to acknowledge that you are now connected to your inner guidance. So I invite you today to set an alarm on your phone and maybe 2-3 times a day, and take a moment for a minute and do breath to belly to feet. Create that muscle memory that'll help you as we go through the transitions that we go through from August to September. Right? Some of you are starting in person at the office, right? So this is a good opportunity to get back into yourself, to stay calm and centered. Some of you are starting school. You know, September is a big time of transformation in most of the country and Europe. The most beautiful gift you can give yourself is the practice of coming back down and inside to yourself, so you can listen to your inner guidance. And so you can be guided by your heart and not your head. Okay, my loves, until next week, I send you much love. Mwah.